Madison Mary and welcome back to my channel. So today I have something new and fun to do for you guys. So I'm going to do a wrap up of the books that I read over the summer. Yes, I am aware that it is currently the middle of September. Do I care? No. Is my life a little hectic right now? Maybe. But regardless, I'm really excited to do this for you guys. I have never really done any book recommendations or anything like that, so I'm super pumped to give you my insight and my ratings of them because I haven't read any books on this channel before. So without further ado, let's get to it. So the first book I'm going to be reviewing is Onyx and Ivory by Mindy Arnett. I love this book. Within the first 2 chapters, I was hooked. Onyx and Ivory is in 2 point of views. We follow one girl, her name is Kate Brighton, and a few years before the story takes place, she used to live in the castle. Her dad was the royal horse person, and he was best friends with the High King. However, one day he mysteriously tries to assassinate the king and is then executed for treason. As a result, Kate then goes into exile and flees the land, and is now known as Trader Kate. In this new land, it is currently overrun by magic, and she works as part of the relay. This is like a royal courier system where they take packages all over, but it is a very dangerous job because outside of the city's walls, night drakes exist. They are dragon-like creatures. They can't fly, but they have like scales and stuff. But what makes Kate so good at her job is the fact that she has the power to influence the minds of animals. But that is Kate and what she is currently going through. She's just trying to, get through life as best as she can. She's an outcast where she is. Even though she's far away from like the castle and everything like that, people still treat her like complete and utter crap, and she's put through hell because of what her father attempted to do. Our second point of view is Prince Corwin. He is one of the crown princes, but after the assassination attempt, Prince Corwin actually goes missing. He just falls off the face of the earth for a few years. He then comes back and is slandered with all these new responsibilities, has to accept his role as one of the crown princes. This story takes place when their paths cross again so many years later. And their paths cross because of a new threat. These night drakes starting to attack during the daytime. And so as a result of this, the two of them now have to work together to try and find out where this threat is coming from and how they can help solve it because it is affecting both of their lives. Kate now has to keep a rein on her magical powers. Her powers are known as wilder magic, and they are currently outlawed in the land. So because of that, whenever someone with wilder magic is found, they're taken away, put into like this whole prison, and no one ever hears from them ever again. But there are all sorts of types of wilder magic. Hers is obviously the ability to influence the mind of animals and things like that. There's also people who can manipulate metal, people who control water, fire, all those really awesome things. So the magic inside of this is really fun. So my rating of this book was a 5 out of 5 stars, of course. And the reason for that is just because the characters are so lovable. You fall for them instantly. I connected to Kate. She is just a character who is just so emotionally raw. Everyone's giving her so much crap because of what her father did. As much as everyone kind of puts her down, she still stands up for herself. She still knows her own morals and won't go against them. And then I also really loved Corwin. He was just extremely sassy, and overall he was just kind of, there were times when he was a bit of a whiny little bitch, I will admit that, but it was kind of interesting to see him portrayed in that way, because normally when you have 2 point of views and the main characters are a guy and a girl, you don't normally see the guy, main character who's a crown prince, being this very vulnerable person who doesn't really know what he's doing. He's feeling very lost. He has a lot of past trauma that he doesn't want to talk about. And because of that, you see Kate take on this role of almost looking after him. She's there as his confidant. She is such a strong-willed person. The choices that she makes may not be the best for her, but they're the best for the people around her. And that just makes her just an interesting person to follow. And as the story does progress, Corwin does come more and more into his own. He starts to accept that he is the crown prince and that he does have these responsibilities and he can make a difference. And seeing that change in him is something that I really enjoyed and found super fun. There are these things in the book called moon belts that are infused with magic. Legal magic. These moon belts are kind of like essentially birth control. So you wear them and they stop like your period and you can't get pregnant on them, and so that's a super fun thing too. The next book I'm going to be talking about is The Queen's Rising by Rebecca Ross. I gave this 4.5 stars. I I can't. I'm teetering on the edge of 4 to 4.5 stars. The reason why I can't give it a full 5 stars is just because the first half of the book is really introducing you to the world and magic system and the whole idea of passions. So in this book, passions are either innate or they're things that you can learn and they're things that you can specialize in. And it's kind of like a scholarly thing almost. You can passion in art, wit, dramatics, and knowledge. I knew I was forgetting a passion. Music. Music is a passion. Brianna is taken in as a 6th girl at the Magnolia House, and that is not normally heard of. They normally only take in 5 girls, 1 for each of the different passions, and they have to learn it until they turn 17 years old, and then they are taken in by a patron and then live off their life, like, you know, specializing in this passion. Brianna, however, is taken into the Magnolia House. She's a 6th girl. She doesn't really know what her passion is. She spends years like trying to figure out which one she is. She's good at all of them, but not great in any of them. In the end, she just ends up going with knowledge. And so the first half of this book is kind of that journey of hers. One of Brianna's biggest fears is the fact that on the 17th summer solstice, she will not be chosen by a patron. And lo and behold, she ain't. What happens is, after Brianna's not given a patron, she spends the next few months kind of continuing her training, and then out of nowhere, this mysterious patron comes out. He is a disgraced lord, and he has ulterior motives for Brianna, for why he wants her to be his passion person. And it's from this point onwards that the story starts really picking up, and it gets crazy. Brianna, after being taken in with her new patron, is thrown into a new world of politics. She is suddenly brought into this whole war between her kingdom and the kingdom next door. So her patron wants to restore the rightful matriarch to the throne because currently a king is overruling everyone. However, he wants to restore the matriarch because that is the whole history of everything, is that a queen has always ruled and a queen will always rise. One of the things that I would really like to say about this book is it does throw a lot of twists and turns, and I freaking loved it. I can't remember which chapter it was, but I think it was like chapter 22, 23 or something. There was this twist, and I literally sat there looking at the page like, what? It was awesome. Like, the twist that comes in this, I did not see coming. I did not see any of the twists that came in this. I had ideas of what I thought was going to happen, and your girl was wrong. But like I said, the first half is very slow paced. The second half is super fast paced. It's action packed. There's a lot going on. You're thrown into the whole politics of both of the kingdoms, and it's really awesome. However, what I would like to say is even the first half is slow, it does give you so much information that it helps you a lot with the second half of the book when all the politics comes in. I feel like I'm really bad at explaining like what things are about without giving too much away. Oh my god, it's so hot in here. The next book I don't actually have here physically, it's back at my parents' house. However, that book is Markswoman. I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars. I'd heard what it was about and I thought, damn, like this is a really cool concept. I'm gonna love this book. And I just felt like the story fell flat for me. So Markswoman follows 2 protagonists, and the first protagonist is Kira. She is the youngest markswoman of her order, the Order of Kali. And markswomen are these elite warriors who have a special mental bond with these magical blades. So what happens is one of the elders is murdered, and she is Kira's mentor. And when the elder dies, she tells Kira who it was that killed her. But then, you know, she dies. And Kira has no proof to show that this woman murdered the elder. So the murderer tries to pin everything on Kira, and as a result she then runs away in a transport hub and gets randomly transported to one of the other orders. However, this order is the Marksmen. Here we meet our second protagonist, and that is ɪᴛᴛ. From here is where our story like really starts to take off, and Kira is trying to find out like, you know, what she's going to do, how she's going to avenge her mentor. And so she starts to learn new knife skills from ɪᴛᴛ and starts training under him and learning from the Marksmen order. And as I'm saying this, it sounds really fun and awesome. However, as you're reading it, it's very, very slow. Like, extremely slow. Like, everything I've just said is in the synopsis of the book, and it takes place within the first half of the book. So the first half of this book is the entire synopsis. So you know what is happening. Unless you pick up this book without reading the blurb, you're gonna know what happens. And because of that, it fell flat. You're waiting for this murder to happen, and it doesn't happen for like pages and pages and pages. There is also an insta-love. I've had insta-loves before where I'm like, okay, it's an insta-love. This was an instant insta-love. Ridiculously instant. One moment, these 2 characters, like Kira and this person, hating on each other, And then 2 pages later, next thing you know, they're like, I'm secretly in love with them. And I'm like, what? What? It's just the weirdest romance, and I feel like I would have probably given it 3.5 stars if this romance was not in it, because it was completely unnecessary and it really just ruined the book, because you were kind of like, That being said, the last like 40 pages or so were like, it really picked up. It ends on the biggest cliffhanger I have probably ever seen. So I probably will still pick up the second book even though I didn't love the first one, mostly because after thinking about it, it seems like it was kind of a build-up for the second book, and I feel like the second book is going to be, hopefully, a lot more interesting, a lot more action-packed, a lot more political, and just better. The next book I'm going to rave about is Daughter of the Pirate King by Tricia Levenseller. I give this a 5 out of 5 stars. I read this for Booktubeathon. I finished it in one day. So the premise of this book is about a pirate princess captain, and her name is Alosa, and she purposely gets captured by the enemy so that she can sneak aboard their ship and search for a missing piece of a treasure map. However, it's proving not to be as easy as she thought, because the captain's first mate is getting in the way. He does not believe that she was just somehow captured. He kind of believes that there's something going on here, and so Alosa now has to deal with trying to find out where this treasure map is whilst not giving away what she's truly doing. One of the things I'm going to say is that if you love Throne of Glass, if you love Selena, you are going to love Daughter of the Pirate King. Alosa gives us serious Selena vibes. Alosa is fierce, sarcastic, witty, still feminine, and super intelligent. That being said, our villain of this book is Draxon, and he's the captain of this ship. You will hate him. He was so dislikable. He was misogynistic, just a complete jerk, and because of that, I think that he's one of the best villains ever. He's just written so well. There's a slow burn romance, however, the way that it kind of develops is not entirely as you would think, and I really enjoyed that. There was no insta-love here. Thank the gods. Child! However, it is a hate-to-love romance, and we love hate-to-love romances. Yes. You love hate-to-love romances. Who doesn't love hate-to-love romances? Yeah. In one kind of sentence, I'd say it's the princess who does not need saving. So the next book I'm going to talk about is one that's widely known, and that is A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. This book has been hecka controversial. Some people have loved it, some people have hated it. I personally gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I will say that I hated the first 4 chapters though. Seriously, the first 4 chapters were just Rhys and Feyre being horny as hell, and it was just super unnecessary. That was just really annoying to read, so I can understand how people didn't like this because of that kind of stuff. Thankfully, it does go away within like the 5th or 6th chapter. I haven't read the series in like a year or so, so for me it was really nice to just get back into the world and see all my characters. This takes place after the big war at the end of A Court of Wings and Ruin, and I just realized that I could be spoiling this for people who haven't read A Court of Wings and Ruin. Okay, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it's really fun to see all the characters. So the whole premise of this is about winter solstice, and one of my favorite things is in chapter 16, which is from Rhys's point of view. He goes, "You brought weapons to solstice." This is to Cass, of course. And then he goes, "The females bring their jewelry, I bring my weapons." So, I don't know, I really enjoyed this. It was really fun seeing things from Cassian's point of view as well. He gave a whole new insight on Nesta and like what she's going through. Yes, I will admit Nesta was annoying as crap throughout this book. However, you do have to remember everything she's been through, how she doesn't even really want to be here. And I actually found it kind of interesting seeing how she was dealing with it and how she was using such unhealthy coping mechanisms. And then I also love seeing Elaine coming out of her shell a bit more, kind of coming more into her own. I absolutely loved the little teaser at the end for the next book, which is going to focus on Cassian and Nesta. It's going to be so much fun seeing the two of them and just seeing their point of views. Not wait. So the next book I'm going to talk to you guys about is Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young. This is a really cool Viking story that is action-packed from the first page. That being said, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars because as much as the beginning is super action-packed and the end is really action-packed, like the Viking battle scenes are awesome, they're gruesome, they're detailed, they're everything you want in a Viking book. The middle has no action whatsoever. That being said, the whole middle is about our main character Ýlin kind of coming into her own and learning more and more about herself and the world that she lives in. The world building in this is phenomenal. Adrienne Young does an amazing job given the history of the 2 Viking clans that have had an ancient feud for forever. So there are two clans, are the Asker and the Riki. Our main character ɪḻsᴛ is part of the Asker, and so her clan has been fighting the Riki for generations. In the last battle, ɪḻsᴛ's brother ɪrī was killed, and she has been looking forward to this battle to kind of avenge her brother. Lo and behold, on the battlefield, she sees her brother and she is freaked out. She has no idea why she sees him. She goes off to try and figure out what's going on, and as a result, she is taken captive by the enemy clan. It was interesting seeing how the two sides, the Asker and the Riki, live. This book has a really big moral code to it, in my opinion. It kind of goes to show that, yes, the Riki and the Asker hate each other, but at the core of it, they're actually extremely similar. They have just been at this ancient feud for so long that no one's ever stopped to look and think, wait a second, we live the exact same ways with the exact same people, why are we even fighting? And because of that, I think Adrienne Young does an amazing job. She's such a beautiful writer, and it was just an enchanting read. Our main character ɪḻsᴛ never loses her spark. The side characters, you will fall in love with them. There is a child in this book, and he will become your child as well, because little precious nugget. Little precious nugget. That is all I can say. And the last two books I'm going to be raving about are part of the same series. That series is gonna be Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerri Maniscalco. People who know me will know that I am in love with this series. This is my favourite read of 2018 so far. So Stalking Jack the Ripper takes place in Victorian London in the year 1888. This is when the Jack the Ripper murders begin to happen. So one of the great things about this novel is Kerri Maniscalco does her research, and all of her books are based off of real events, and she then like fictionalizes them, which I found super cool. I do like period historic books, so that's just me. Plus I'm a huge fan of the whole whodunit criminal thing. However, we follow our protagonist, Audrey Rose Wadsworth. She is the daughter of a lord, and she kind of has the whole role of the whole dutiful daughter. However, Audrey Rose doesn't like to conform to the corset of society. Out of the public eye, she secretly studies forensic science under her estranged uncle. The victims of the Ripper start turning up on her uncle's table. As a result of this, she gets sucked into the murders. That being said, Kerri Maniscalco is a gorgeous writer. Throughout both of her books, she has this poetic writing where she uses colour to describe everything. You know, London's very grey. She talks about like foggy nights, and she creates this amazing, amazing eerie ambiance. And her stories are just very morbidly fascinating, and you can't help falling in love with them. I will say that there are certain scenes that are very gory. Some people did say that they could tell who was the murderer from the beginning. I did not know. I had my guesses. I was wrong. It kept me guessing, and I really enjoyed that. That being said, we do have a second character, and that is the wonderful Thomas Cresswell. Thomas is another student studying under Audrey's uncle. He is insufferable to Audrey Rose. She cannot stand him. She thinks he's obnoxious. He's so smart. He is phenomenal. He is like my new book boyfriend. He will be your new book boyfriend. He is sassy. He is witty. He is funny, but he's also sweet. The typical book boy you love. Hunting Prince Dracula is the second book in this story. Honestly, it's even better than the first book. You delve more and more into the characters. You really see them grow. Audrey Rose is going through PTSD from the Stalking Jack the Ripper murders. We meet other females in this. They embrace their sexuality, which is kind of unheard of during this whole time period. In this book, Thomas Cresswell shines. The slow burn in this is real. Kerri Maniscalco is probably the goddess of the slow burn. And the entire premise of the story gives vibes of Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None. If you guys have read that, you'll kind of understand what I'm saying. So yeah. So I'm going to start off with my lowest rated manga that I think I've read in a while, and that is SP Baby. And I gave it 2 stars, mostly because the artwork is just something that I'm just a huge fan of. It's a really trashy read. I'm just going to say that. There's only 2 books in the series, which in my opinion was way not enough. The whole premise of this is the fact that our main character, Tamaki, she misses an interview for a job, and so she's now jobless. On her way back from missing her interview, she sees a guy getting assaulted, and she goes and saves him. This man, Kekatora, is actually the Prime Minister's son. He gives her a job as his bodyguard. It was a good book. Like, I enjoyed it. I just would never read. I don't know. It just wasn't that. It was just weird at times. I don't know. The main character has like a weird fascination with her legs, and it kind of borderlines like really creepy. The characters are really two-dimensional. There's really not much to it. I wasn't really that invested in the storyline, and so 2 out of 5 stars. So next I read the first 6 in this series, and that series is Mixed Vegetables. I love this series. So I found this at Half Price Books when I was there last, and they had the first 6 in the series, and I was like, oh, I've seen this before, like I'm gonna pick up the first one, I'm gonna read it. Next thing you know, it was 2 hours later and I'd read all they had. So our main character, Hana Yu, is the daughter of a bakery chef. However, she wants to be a sushi chef. She's too afraid of telling her father this. One of her classmates is the son of a sushi chef, so she makes it her mission to try and date him so she can marry him and then get into the business that way. And then as it turns out, he wants to be a pastry chef. So what? That works out really well, you would think. However, things start to go a little bit wonky and it's just a super fun read. I got really emotional during this. It's hard hitting. I would definitely recommend these. I'd say I would give the first 2 5 out of 5 stars, and then from then on the rest of them are kind of like 4. But yeah, that is pretty much it for my summer wrap up. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a super long video, but I really enjoyed filming it. I enjoyed letting you guys know what I thought of these books. Let me know what you guys thought. Let me know if you thought I rambled too much, if I gave good descriptions, not enough description, not enough review, or just, I don't know. I'd appreciate any feedback, so. Anyway, that's all I have to say. If you guys like this video, please hit the like button below. And if you want to see more of me, please subscribe to my channel. And until next time, thanks a bunch guys. Bye!